Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the It Doesn't Matter podcast. And we've got myself, Strap Facts, John, and we also have...
We also got the Dominican Dream, baby. The Papi Plátano.
There he is. And we have a special guest here today, a special friend of mine. His name is Pat Weddle, all the way from Kansas. Pat, how you doing out there today?
I'm not doing too bad. I appreciate the invite. It's a pleasure to be with y'all.
All right. And we're here to talk about the absence of Dom Williams. No, he'll be...
You're either with us or you're on.
I think he's against us.
Yes,
all right, but Dom will be joining us later in the show. But we're here to talk about WWE SummerSlam 2010.
None of us has the end, do we? So we're not notorious.
Oh, Team WWE over here. We're winners after all.
Yes,
Spoiler alert.
Yes, we are.
We all got different T-shirts. I got a San Francisco Giants shirt because I just went on vacay to San Francisco.
I got an American Dragon kicking heads in from the Slam Wrestle crate. Ooh. Yes.
Oh, Pat's got a classic here. Eat, sleep, conquer, repeat. Brock Lesnar. Watch out for those headphones, brother. Okay. So we're here to talk about WWE SummerSlam 2010, and the reason we chose the show is because my friend Pat, I was telling him about the podcast, and I said, you should be on our show, and kind of like our sister show, The Wrestling That Made Us, I said, Pat, I know he hasn't watched in a long time. Like, what do you remember? Like, what can you pick? Do you remember us talking about that, Pat?
Yeah, I remember. So I remember a lot about John Cena because I really liked him a lot and whatnot, and I liked CM Punk. I remember the whole CM Punk thing when he got released from WWE and then he signed back on. And what else?
Summer of Punk.
I remember the Nexus very well.
That's right.
I hated it. What's that? I hated it.
Did you have a Nexus shirt? Or was that
I did.
Randy?
Yeah,
you did?
Me and Randy both did. Me and Randy actually went to a wrestling show, and I can't remember even where it was, but we both had our Nexus shirts on.
And there's our weekly shout out to Randy. Another loyal listener, watcher of the show. Thanks for watching, Randy. But yeah, so I asked Pat, and he said, I remember John Cena. I remember the Nexus. And I was like, you know what? Do I have a match pay-per-view for you? It is the apex of the Nexus, their highest point in being pushed in the WWE, which was SummerSlam 2010. It was headlined by a 14-man tag team elimination style tag team match, but that is the main event. We'll get to that shortly, but we're going to go run down the card of SummerSlam 2010. Again, helped being chosen by Pat Weddle there and pushed on by myself. So here's SummerSlam 2010. It took place at the Staples Center, now known as the Crypto.com Arena or some bullshit like that.
I was going to say it last night. I went over to John and Randy's house all the time to watch these pay-per-views and stuff, and I remember a lot of when I watched that one, it's like, that was a year I know we had to watch it together, but I just don't remember a whole lot because, it was 14 years ago. And I think
exactly.
Jogged my memory, but
14 years ago. What else can you remember from 14 years ago? Do we have a different president? That's topical, isn't it?
Yes.
But no, you're right. Pat, on this show, it happens very, very often that we're covering these shows, and I definitely saw this pay-per-view. Have no memory of anything about it.
Yep.
We promise, we pinky swear that we saw the show. Did not happen, and that's why it's fun to revisit these things and see and jog the memory if you can. And sometimes even if you are jogging that memory, you run out of breath and you still forget it. So the opening contest for SummerSlam 2010 was for the Intercontinental Championship, featuring the show-off Dolph Ziggler, the incumbent, taking on Kofi Kingston. Abel, do you have any thoughts on this opening Intercontinental Championship match?
Yeah, it's crazy seeing that these guys are two former world champions down the road, but seeing where they are at this moment. The way it ended, I wasn't sure why they did it, but it made sense at the end. But it was a good back and forth, a lot of action. Once you say you put Ziggler in this match, I know he's going to sell like crazy. he was like the younger version of Shawn Michaels without. He probably didn't have that charisma or that fight that Shawn had, unfortunately, because when Shawn would get in the ring, he had a babyface fire that just you couldn't stop. I know people would say I'm nuts for saying that, but they did comparable. They're very close, but Shawn just had a fire that Dolph just didn't have. It's very crazy to think about that.
Maybe it's his ugly face, like Vince McMahon would put a blue dot over it, like Christian Cage.
Did he do that on Dolph?
No, but Dolph kind of has that face. It's kind of small. I'm not being racist here. It's kind of small, kind of, like Christian. He kind of has those eyes, those little small eyes, beady little eyes. Too,
yeah, he's looking at you like
yeah.
You.
Well, he was also kind of like Shawn Michaels. He had Vicky Guerrero with him, and Shawn Michaels had Sherry Martel with him. Yes. Pat, do you have any recollections of this match with Dolph Ziggler and Kofi Kingston?
So my biggest opinion on that match is when the Nexus came in and they just wasted them both.
Yeah.
You saw they threw Dolph Ziggler over the ring and then you never saw him again, and it was all them beating up Kofi Kingston and whatnot, which is fine. But I think a good ending would have been to that match would have been, once the Nexus walked out and you saw Kofi laying there in the ring, it would have been a good ending if Dolph Ziggler would have climbed back over and pinned him.
Yeah. Yeah.
They should have made a no disqualification match.
Yeah. I thought about it at the end too. I was like, why couldn't you get a finish and then maybe have the Nexus attack the babyface Kofi at that time, just so. But at the same time, you don't want to show that they have any, friends in the WWE. It's either you're Nexus or you're against us. So it made sense.
Quick question, John, before we move on. Is this just being recorded to watch later, or can other people watch it as it's going on?
Technically, for right now, I did enable it to stream live to twitch.tv/IDM pod, something we have not done in a very long time. Okay. But I decided to do it today, and it's probably messing my computer up right now. You guys are frozen to me, but I'm still talking and I'm still hearing. Audio, very important here. Do I still look okay? Or
yeah, you're still moving.
So is it twitch.com, and then what's the rest of it?
So the address is, for all our fans out there, twitch.tv/IDM pod. That's IDM POD. That's right, folks. Twitch.tv/IDM pod. We are streaming live on Twitch. And we have 7 subscribers. So why don't you be our 8th, 9th, and 10th, please?
Yes.
See, I got a frog in my throat. But yeah, this match just ended. The Nexus interfered, and WWE doesn't, to protect their superstars, they don't give you a finish and then have the Nexus interfere. It totally makes sense the other way. It'd be the right thing to do, but that's not what WWE does up until 2024. So a little factoid. The next match, we're gonna move on to the next match, and the next match I watched. As said, I went to California recently. On the flight home, I found out that JetBlue has Peacock streaming capabilities on the plane. Cool. Maybe other planes have that capability too. I'm not sure. But it's for economy, you can't beat it. For economy seats, you can't beat it. It's I approve the airline.
Yeah, I've never. I think the only reason I never have flown on is because it just doesn't go anywhere that I've needed to go.
Well, if you want to go to Miami, I don't know.
Go to Orlando. I've been working on that.
Well, let me tell you, it does not fly to where you live, Pat. So I don't have to tell you about that. But you fly what you can. But yeah, I was able to watch this pay-per-view on the plane, streaming for 3 hours. My iPad Mini 4, capable. It did not. The battery did not die. It streamed the whole time. I mean, the darkness was kind of dim, but anyway, I watched it on the plane, and so this match was coming up, and you kind of people watching you watch wrestling. It's kind of a weird thing, So as soon as I heard this match come up, I closed the lid and I just listened to this match. So I actually did not watch this match. I only heard it, and it actually contained a match favorite of future WWE Diva superstar Cameron, who very famously on an episode of Tough Enough, I believe, she goes up to Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Stone Cold says, "What's your favorite match?" And she's like, "Melina and Alicia Fox." And Stone Cold's like, "Who the fuck is that?" And so here it is, Alicia Fox and Melina. Alicia Fox, the Divas champion, going one-on-one with Melina. So I only heard it. Can't really speak on it. So, Abel, what did you see regarding this matchup?
Yeah, it was some decent back and forth. I was not expecting the Divas to have a decent match at this time because I think this was around the era where they were getting maybe like 2-3 minutes. I mean, I think they were actually getting a little bit, like 5 or 6, even 7 minutes. And Melina is one of those top tier girls that actually can wrestle or, be capable, and you wouldn't be like, take her off my screen. And Alicia Fox, nothing. She was so young too. I think she was only like 20 something at this time to be Divas champion. That's a lot of, it's a lot of time ahead of her. And fortunately, she's not with the company anymore due to outside issues. But we're not going to get into that. But it was actually good back and forth, and it's just Melina with a win. I was shocked. Normally, they do not give the hometown person a win. They usually screw them. They're gonna lose at home, and nope, Melina won. It was a good show of face, and then when you see Layla and Michelle come out, I was confused because I wasn't sure if they were double champions by then or or how did that work, because the 2 belt thing kind of screwed me up. I was like, that's the old women's belt?
I'm kind of curious when they unified them, because eventually they just ran around with the Divas title, I thought.
Yeah.
It's a question for some other encyclopedia somewhere. Pat, did you have any thoughts and designs between these two fighting divas, Alicia Fox?
I had actually forgotten about both of them because, again, it's been so long since I've watched any WWE stuff. And when they came back, I'm like, oh yeah, I wonder, are either one of those divas still even in the WWE right now? Okay,
no. I think Melina might be in NWA right now or MLW, if I'm not too sure. I'm not going to...
I can tell you they were both in the 2022 Women's Royal Rumble match.
Was Melina there?
Or 23, one of those.
Yeah, she was there.
They were both in there, yeah. Anyway, Pat, what did you think about the match?
What came to mind is, I had forgotten about this, but the Diva matches always only last like 3 minutes.
Yep.
He doesn't...
Well, maybe that's how long fans at home can last. Maybe that's why. Oh, 3 minutes. That's got to be enough. I think they're done now.
Did someone say 3 minutes? No. Rest in peace, fellas.
Jesus.
Hey, they're gone, man. I don't got to worry about them.
The ghosts come after these large, shadowy ghosts.
Hey, why is my light flickering?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I don't remember a whole lot about it, honestly, so I couldn't really give it a straight-up opinion on that one.
All right.
Yeah, I guess she had lost the belt because she had an injury due to, I think, a knee injury. So she had to relinquish the belt, and then I guess when she came back, she came to go for that title again. I don't know how. If it was like she just challenged her because WWE doesn't do the contender stuff like AEW, but she came back off of injury, got the title shot, and won. So that's the gist of it.
All right. Well, we've said all we need to say about the short Divas match. Moving on, the Straight Edge Society. What a duo that was. Not a duo, but a quadruple. CM Punk, Miraculous Joey Mercury, and Big LG Luke Gallows, and Serena Deeb, still known as
Serena Deeb.
What was she on this show? She was someone else, wasn't she?
No, she was Serena Deeb.
She was still Serena Deeb? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so Serena Deeb, there they were, and they're facing the Big Show in a handicap match. And, CM Punk, this is a 2010, so earlier in the year, CM Punk, he just started the Straight Edge Society. You know what? Thinking, Pat mentioned, when the summer of Punk, when, he was very unhappy professionally and all that stuff, it probably began when WWE dismantled this group. Not right now, obviously, but eventually they did. And I mean, due to outside forces, Serena Deeb, didn't she get caught drinking out of character, and they didn't like that, and then I think probably Big Gallows got injured or something, and then they released him, or Joey Mercury, something happened to him, and his group just fell apart, and that probably pissed him off. And then he kind of floated around. He feuded Randy Orton at the following year's Mania, and he would just float around until he got pissed. He got mad at The Miz for main eventing WrestleMania 27, and then he dropped that pipe bomb. But that's going way too into the future. As of right now, CM Punk is still a happy guy, seemingly, in this feud with the Big Show. He even had a T-shirt that said, "I broke Big Show's hand."
Yeah. That was a good one. I should have bought that.
Abel, what do you think about this handicap match featuring CM Punk and friends versus the Big Show?
Well, normally when you hear a Big Show match being a handicap, you're like, he's going to be the one getting squashed, because for some reason Big Show's never put in as a real giant. They always make him seem like a buffoon. He had some, he was working underneath for some reason, but there was times where he actually worked like a giant, and eventually he showed up his real strength and what it was supposed to be. I'm with you on the whole CM Punk thing with the whole frustration, because I don't think I was watching it, but when I went back to watch the Straight Edge Society, I was just like, all right, that's different. That's guys that are straight edge. Well, straight edge. I know there's a group of people in society that don't drink, don't smoke, don't do anything. So, all right, so you got a group that you can identify with that. Yes, there was a time where I wasn't drinking at all, but Dom brought me back to the dark side.
Keep him out of the liquor cabinet and keep him out of the studio attic.
It's too hot up here for that. But yeah, it was a pretty decent match for me, for a Big Show match. Normally I'm just thinking, all right, it's going to be a few minutes, and then he just puts his big pause and calls it a night. But Luke Gallows is actually putting in some work in there too. I was shocked. And then Punk, he really didn't have as much work as I thought he would. I mean, him being the leader and being such a ring general, you would think that he'd have more say in the match. But I'm guessing this wasn't when he was really good with the old man. So I'm guessing there was like, hey, Big Show, work with this guy, that guy, him, very little time. And then he had to work his way up, because he had already been champion by then, right? And they
Punk, 3 times, I thought,
and they took it away from him because Randy Punk kicked him to hell.
Long-term storytelling, or that happened.
Yep.
Pat, do you have any thoughts about this matchup here, the Straight Edge Society taking on the Big Show?
It was different in the way that, because I remember Big Show, for as big as he is, he got his ass kicked a lot, and actually Mark Henry did too. For somebody who's the world's strongest man, there's a lot of matches where he got his ass kicked.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I was expecting here. But no, Big Show just came through, just cleaned house, and just doused them all.
Big Show in this matchup, he did a preview of the WrestleMania finish many years down the line. He stacked them and he pinned them.
Yep, yeah.
I think there's another line in there too, but I forget. But he definitely stacked them and pinned them. Two-thirds of the crew anyway. Gallows and Joey Mercury. But it was very heavily storyline based. It wasn't really much of a match, I would say, but CM Punk was still a very entertaining character. I had a T-shirt that was very Straight Edge Society. Unfortunately, there's like a hole in it, so I couldn't sell it on eBay. Or I can sell and say there's just a hole there. You won't even know.
Randy's friend Jason, actually, you remember Jason, John? He had said for the longest time wondered, that was one of his biggest obsessions with wrestling at the time, was he wondered if CM Punk was really straight edge. And he came out with a documentary really about it. So his dad drank all the time and he swore up and down he was not going to be like that. So he does not ever.
Yeah, I give a lot of respect for him for that, but other stuff, it's like, Punk, you didn't need to do that. But we're not going to get into that tonight.
I actually was very surprised when Punk pretty much quit WWE. I thought that was going to be the end, but he ended up coming back, even if it was just for like another year. But he ended up coming back, and I was very surprised about that.
Yeah, I really thought when he said he was gone, I was like, yeah, he's not coming back.
Isn't he with who is he with now?
The business.
No, I mean what
AJ Lee
wrestling show. Oh, he is.
Oh, he's back with the WWE right now.
That's even more surprising.
Yeah. If you really want to get into where CM Punk is right now, you're going to have one hell of a time for the past 5 years of history of CM Punk in professional wrestling. Yeah. Feel free to look that up next time you're on a bathroom break.
Yeah, they must have paid him
fascinating material.
WWE. Because I remember,
he's got on his hands.
I remember that podcast he did years ago. I think it was with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh man, yeah, that got.
Yeah, if you listen to that podcast, he was not happy at all. So I'm very surprised he made a return.
No.
Well,
pretty much.
Money heals all wounds. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, the next matchup here in SummerSlam, the fourth match of the show, it's for the WWE Championship. The WWE Champion Sheamus going one-on-one with that Viper, Randy Orton. Pat, let's start with you this time. What did you think about this WWE Championship match between the Celtic Warrior and the
Sheamus,
Viper?
Actually, I remember when he first came on, I hated him. Just did not like him at all. And then as time went on, I'm like, oh yeah, I really like this guy now. He's talented. He works in the ring. I'm trying to remember now what happened in this particular match. He got disqualified for, I think, bringing a chair into the ring. Is that right? Oh, and he knocked the ref off.
Bring a chair in the ring. The referee was trying to. Yeah. Yeah, because I think the stipulation was if Randy couldn't beat him that night, he can never challenge him for the title, so long as he's the champion.
Yeah, Orton was pretty pissed that he didn't win it, even if it was from a disqualification.
Yeah.
I just remember watching this match, and I was like, this is so boring. I thought it was a boring match. I mean, like, it's for the WWE title. Like, sometimes that match is the most important match of the show.
Yes.
And sometimes you got to put it wherever you got to put it, and, depending on the nature of the champion themselves, this is, so, and it helped make me think about how Vince McMahon pushed WWE at the time. Like, what do you make your headliner? I mean, it could change for special occasions, sure, but it's like, is your main event the world title, the world champion, or is it John Cena? And for a period of about 10 years, it was John Cena, whether he was in the title picture or not. That bothered people like Phil Brooks, CM Punk. It did not bother Sheamus, or he kept it to himself, because here he is, fourth match on the card for the world title. He is the champion, and throughout his career, he would be mistreated. I just saw the WWE 24 documentary a little while ago. He was like, I was just WWE champion. I beat Roman Reigns, and now I'm drafted last to Raw or SmackDown.
Yep.
What the hell, But no, Sheamus was still relatively new to WWE at the time. I mean, he had already won the title and lost it, and this is his second run. And here with Randy Orton, the perpetual WWE veteran who's always there, never goes away. When he comes back, we do enjoy him. But I think they knew that because the ending was going to be a disqualification, that they were just kind of going through the motions. And it was just kind of very plotting, and it just was not a fun match for me to sit through. So I don't know about you guys. You have a different thought on that?
I mean, I'm kind of with you on that. Normally, when you hear a Sheamus match, you're gonna see some hard hitting, some blows. I mean, you did see some of it, but like you said, John, there were some times you're just like, oh, these guys just seem like they're not interested in this because they know they're not the main event. Or, I mean, Randy just came back maybe 6 months ago, and he has a new look. Skinny Randy just looks crazy compared to Randy right now. I'm like, I'm like looking at him
He
now
gained
and then
some
looking
weight?
at this. I'm like, this is not the same guy, but
Huh.
yeah, he's a big boy.
Yeah, he really thickened up. Yeah.
Really?
Let's just say he makes Sheamus look small.
Oof.
If you see him now.
Yeah, I mean, this was Randy Orton still at a very slim point due to the wellness policy at the time, and they're still in shape, but they're not gigantic like they have always been known to be.
Loosen up on their wellness policies? Huh.
I think so. Recently, I don't know what the changes are, but there's no way some of these guys are not on something and looking the way they do. It's just almost impossible for me, at least. I could be wrong. I hope I am.
I heard in the bodybuilding community that they are the first to try anything new. Because one guy will tell another guy, it's like, hey, what are you on? What are you doing? Oh, I'm adding protein to my pineapple smoothie in the morning. It's like, okay, let me try that, and then it becomes a thing. Oh, I've noticed my gains, or so. The scientific community is very high and tight.
Bill
with
John that was into that Zija stuff and always trying to get people to buy it and get it and everything.
Oh my god!
Yep.
Screw that guy, Bill.
Yeah, we're not even friends no more.
Bill. Screw you. This homeboy called me under the guise of friendship, Abel. Can you imagine this? Friendship. Yes, disgusting. And trying to sell me on, basically Herbalife. So,
oh, man. I've had so many people try to get me on that.
It didn't work out for me either because I remember about a year or so after I moved back to Kansas, he was advertising on Facebook that he was selling coffee now. And, and I made a comment. I go, you're not selling Zija anymore, Bill? Well, he erased that comment. And then he was advertising coffee for a long time. And then it went from that to something else I can't even remember. But then we kind of told each other off and he deleted me.
Now he sells Amway. It's the American way. It's the American way. Speaking of another big dummy, the Big Red Machine Kane, the World Heavyweight Champion, defends his championship against Booyaka, Rey Mysterio. Abel, what do you got going on with Kane and Rey Mysterio?
Before I even answer this, was this a casket match or just a regular match and you just brought a casket to the ring?
I think
because
I think he just brought confused. It. Well, considering the match ended with a choke slam and a pin, it was a regular match, and he just brought it out for gimmick purposes, which is funny because they opened it twice and showed there's nothing in it.
Yeah, I'm assuming when I saw that, I'm assuming all right, it's a casket match, and I must have ignored what was going on in real life and then I'm seeing Rey Mysterio going for a pin. I'm like, wait, casket match is gonna win with a pin? I'm like, something's off. But that's what happens when you don't pay attention all the time and you got a baby screaming at you all the time.
Run cheer for Rey.
Yeah, this is one of those Rey Mysterio matches, man. I love Rey Mysterio. He's always gonna he's quick. He's got that baby face that he's always gonna fight, and he's never. I think who was it that said it? I think it was Matt Striker or Cole was like, I've never seen him go against anybody that's smaller than him. I'm like, you're not gonna have anybody smaller than 5'3" or 5'5". Sorry, Ray, I don't know how tall you really are. But you got the big. Yeah, go ahead.
The commentary throughout the night is something we're kind of missing mentioning, but you can tell Matt Striker is like prodding and poking Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler, and Jerry Lawler is not having it.
No,
Jerry Lawler is not playing along with them, and it's like at the time I didn't really notice it, but I can hear it. I'm just like, because Matt Striker's trying to come up with trying to be like a smart ass, and what do you think about this, King? And King's like, dude, I don't have an answer for you. Stop asking me the questions that are coming out of left field. And he just wouldn't answer them.
No, because Jerry's the one that usually instigates everything. So he's looking at it like, hey, get out of my role.
So I can see why Matt Striker
had gone to a wrestling show with, I think, your friend Kenny, where Jerry Lawler was there. Remember, he was signing pictures and stuff. Matter of fact, I got his picture right up here on my...
Oh my God!
But I was asking him if Michael Cole was the way he is on TV in real life, and he goes, "Yep, he is just the same." Yeah.
He got shorter too.
So he was living the gimmick. But I heard Michael Cole was actually a really nice guy behind the scenes.
I remember he was on Howard Stern one time, and somebody called in and was telling him his opinion on him, and Michael Cole just went into a fit of rage on the air. I've done 900 some episodes, and you need to shut your mouth. And he flipped out.
I'm a war correspondent.
I mean, he is. So
he is.
I mean, he doesn't. He didn't get the just due that he's getting right now. I think because he was basically speaking for Vince McMahon. That's something we didn't realize, and then the older a lot of the things that he was saying was coming through Vince, and there were a lot of shows where you found out that Vince wasn't around, and you hear a different voice with the way he carry himself or his commentating. If you listen to Michael Cole right now, it's completely different than what you hear back in this time frame, because he's got more freedom to speak, and I mean he's still promoting like he has to, like anybody should, but he doesn't have someone saying, "Hey, say this, say that." It's more like, "Hey, we're going here. Just try to get us to this part in the storyline."
I just remember Jim Ross wasn't like that.
It's really refreshing.
He was a gentle giant. He was just really nice, and he wasn't arrogant at all. And then Michael Cole comes on, and he's just. Ugh.
He's another one. Yeah, JR speaks about that too. That there was times where he'd have to do commentating, and then he'd have Vince in his ear saying, "Say it, say this word, goddammit, say it," and he's just like talking, and then he has to hit that line for Vince. It's just like some of these stories. I know all the good that Vince has done, it's like he's a fucking prick. And I get it. It's your company. You want to have it your way.
He treats everybody different too.
No
like I was,
bully.
We were at one of their shows one time, and we were on our way out, and I was asking some of the behind the scenes people, like the lighting people and the DJ people and everything. I was going over with them, asking how things worked, and they were showing me their switchboard and stuff. And one of us asked him, I can't remember if it was me or Randy, it says, how is Vince to work for? And the guy's like, "Oh, he's great. He's a prankster, and he'll play jokes on you all the time and everything, but if you talk to like one of the superstars or the announcer or whatever, he's just a whole different Vince to them."
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can understand because, I mean, back in the day, from what I hear, a lot of talent would take advantage of the promoters, and I think he's just basically putting his foot down on that. So I can see both sides. I mean, when you're the boss, you can't be friends with everybody, but you can't be a total asshole to everybody as well. So you got to find that happy medium, and there's some stuff I just don't agree with, but other stuff I kind of understand. You gotta put your foot in someone's ass to let them know that the buck stops at me, not with what you say.
I mean, there's something to that. You know, we've kind of touched upon it on previous podcasts. Tony Khan is not Vince McMahon. Preach, shut up.
That's fine.
But no, it's just two different management styles, and you either latch onto one or the other, and it works. Different styles work for different people, and you know, some people, depending on their job, they do need to be not almost handheld and told what to do line by line, and other people don't. But if you use that one style for everyone, it's only going to affect the 3 people that take to it, and the rest of the 7 are just going to be like, "Boss is a dick." Yeah. Anyway, but you know, Tony Khan has a different management management style than Vince McMahon does. Vince McMahon absolutely had hey, the buck stops here. You stop talking, you stop arguing as soon as I say so. And for whatever that's worth, I mean, that is a style, and it was effective. It was effective for a lot of people. It was effective for all those lunkheads in the 80s and the 90s and to now. But what do you have now? You have a different generation of superstar. You have a different generation of wrestler who doesn't do drugs, doesn't drink a lot, doesn't take pills. They play video games. They smoke weed. They take edibles. You know, they are different people now, and their way to manage them, the Gen Z, the Gen Y, the whatever, it doesn't matter what it's called. You know, they they don't accept a certain management style. They don't accept that old style. They accept the newer style. So when you have like AEW, Mark Henry and Big Show and Adam Copeland going in there and be like, Vince ran a different ship. It was him, and that was the end. It's like in AEW, we get to have a conversation. I can't respect that. It's like it's different, But anyway, going far too long on.
That was a good match, though. That's with 619 that he did to Kane. Yeah, he was quick.
Oh yeah. All I can think about is the Undertaker saying, "Rey Mysterio, your bony ass hit me in the nose and broke it."
Yeah, I heard that. He's like, you're gonna have to pay, and he's just like, oh no, I'm really screwed now.
I'm wearing a mask.
And then he turns around and goes after Kane. And now it's like revealed that Kane was the one that actually attacked Undertaker.
Oh my god, that was so weird. Tell me you didn't do it.
Yeah,
I swear I didn't do it. Wow, what weird.
Who would think the Undertaker would get attacked from behind by Rey Mysterio? Like, come on. I mean, Rey would have to do that just to even get some type of edge with him, but Rey Mysterio's been
as good as he is and as quick as he is. I mean, I'm sorry, the Undertaker and Kane, they don't lose. I think they win every match they're ever on.
That's true. Well, Taker, yes. Kane, he was like in that role where he, like the big dummies, he'd win a little, but lose a lot more too. But it's true, like you said, when he'd win, it seemed like it was a big deal. So if he was ever in the title picture, it's like, okay, I understand why he's there. It wasn't like, you put Kane in the title picture? What the hell's wrong with you?
Kane is always in the title picture. But yeah, at the time, Kane, we were all, he had not been a world champion since 1998. He may have held the ECW title for a spell, but we're talking the world heavyweight title. And when he won it, because he won the Money in the Bank,
I remember,
and then he cashed it in on
one.
Mysterio that same night. And it was kind of like, Kane, get your due, man, get your world title run. And his whole world title run was pretty awful. It was not very good, but sometimes what the fans want isn't what you really want.
I was like, I didn't care for Roman Reigns
what we really want to get.
Yeah. So,
and I don't think a lot of the WWE Universe did, but they just kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it.
Well, it kind of worked eventually, but they had to do a lot. And eventually, yes, he did go over Pat. Roman Reigns.
Dom's favorite guy.
He eventually
the longest reigning WWE champion of
modern history.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
I think he had the third or the fourth longest reign on the all time.
Yeah, he did not beat Hulk Hogan's third? He third in line for that, I think.
Yeah, it would have been. So right now it's Bruno, Backlund, Hogan, and Roman right now.
See, Pat, during Roman Reigns, he came back during the pandemic, and he was a heel, and he changed his character to the Tribal Chief, and they had a storyline called the Bloodline with the Usos and Sami Zayn, and it was a long-term storytelling, very popular with the fans, especially once fans were able to come back to arenas and things like that, and it culminated with Cody Rhodes headlining 2 WrestleManias with Roman Reigns, where Cody Rhodes was able to finish his story of winning the WWE title for the Rhodes family.
Yeah, see, I've been out of
more things to look up on your next bathroom break.
I was just telling my girlfriend.
What better time than Cody Rhodes is your new world heavyweight champion?
Because I miss going over to you guys' either yours or Randy's house, or we'd all get together and watch these, and it was fun. Or going to the shows even, it was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. You gonna go?
Actually, Monday Night Raw is in Providence this coming Monday.
Really?
So maybe
be a seat filler.
I'll try. But Yes, exactly. But the next match up here is the main event of the show, the 7-on-7, if I'm counting correctly.
Yep.
Team WWE versus the Nexus. The Nexus, led by Wade Barrett, also featuring Heath Slater, Justin Gabriel, David the A-List Otunga, Skip Sheffield, next to be known as the Ryback, Michael Tarver, and Darren the club promoter Young. Facing off against the captain of Team WWE, John Cena, also with Bret the Hitman Hart, the Rated R Superstar Edge, Chris Jericho, R-Truth, John Morrison, and surprise guest Daniel Bryan. And as I'm going down the list here, I forgot that earlier The Miz came out and did a promo saying that he was going to join Team WWE, but he was such an asshole. They're like, we don't need you. So they recruited Daniel Bryan, who was fired temporarily, back into the show. And you can tell Vince McMahon did not give a shit about Daniel Bryan back at this point, because they're like, here's Daniel Bryan. And he comes out, and usually, you know, you would focus on him in the beginning part of the match. They'd bum rush the ring. They'd all fight each other, and you focus on Bryan. Nah, he just got lost in the shuffle because Vince was not focusing on him at all.
Vince saw him. He's like, oh, he's not.
And it was like that for a long time. I remember the whole yes movement thing. And he had to fight hard to get where he was at.
Yeah, that wouldn't come down for another 5-6 more years, I think. But yeah, even I think at this point, I think the internet fans were the ones that really clamoring for him to come back, because he just made a mistake. They were all told to, hey, wreak havoc on the stage, and unfortunately, he was choking out the Dapper Yapper.
Too real.
Yeah, they said, yeah, you can't be on TV choking a guy, even though it probably wasn't the right idea, man. But I'm kind of glad he got a second shot and he made the best of it. And WWE almost missed out on a really great talent.
Yeah, I've
almost
always
missed out on someone, a big legend down the road too. So, what a mistake! Yeah, so something about him. He always carried himself different than others, and he just had like a respect that come from Ring of Honor. He respected the ring, and he respected his peers. So,
I believe, Pat, you own one of Daniel Bryan's first T-shirts. It's the maroon one with the hands across the front like that. I think you do, anyway. Anyway, somewhere lost between.
I don't have a whole lot of my WWE shirts left. They got worn out over the years. Matter of fact, my orange John Cena one's cut up into rags.
Yeah. This is your future.
I highly recommend getting a Pro Wrestling Crate.
Pro Wrestling Crate for only how much?
I gotta look at my account.
Oh my god!
I think it's $39.99. I get two T-shirts, 2 wrestling micro brawlers.
You sell it?
Autographs, pins. The deal alone. No, we get them from Pro Wrestling Tees. It's probably the best deal from any wrestling fan. I feel like just the 2 T-shirts alone are going to be worth more than the whole box. So everything else is pretty much just gravy.
Abel has shown some good T-shirt designs and a couple of fun things from the Pro Wrestling Crates over time here on the IDM pod. But lost my train of thought. But watching Daniel Bryan here, some people asked, like, John, who's your favorite wrestler? And of course, I don't give him an answer because I like everybody. But if you really dig down deep, you could probably say, and I would probably say, it's probably Bryan Danielson. And because I followed his career for such a long time, and I know his career very, very well. So I'd have to say it is Bryan Danielson, my favorite wrestler, who's about to head to retirement and maybe a world title win this weekend at AEW All In.
Really?
But
it's poetic justice is crazy. John Cena's about to retire next year. Bryan's gonna be retiring soon.
Yeah.
It's we're getting old, fellas.
What?
all of our heroes, they're
But
gone.
I combed it in. No more gray.
Why do you think I wear a hat? It's fading.
No, but Daniel Bryan, like we were talking about him coming back here, and I could follow him. You know, he beat The Miz. Here we go. Beat The Miz for the U.S. title the next month. He would 2011. He tried to fight Sheamus at WrestleMania on the pre-show. That didn't happen. He won the world title by the end of the year in a BS match. Lost to Sheamus really quickly at WrestleMania 28 and started the Yes movement from there. And now he's in. And he had to retire, and then he came back, and so many things with this guy. But here he was. But even saying what I said, that Vince didn't care for him, he did get the first elimination. He eliminated Darren Young via submission.
It was a great match.
Got the Playboy out of there really early.
Yeah, I was not expecting that from these 7-on-7s. Normally, you see a lot of clunkiness and a lot of stuff. You're just like, all right, turn the page, just get the eliminations in, and give me what we really want. But you're right, a lot of good showing. Go ahead, John. What was the next nomination? I forgot.
John Morrison eliminates Michael Tarver via pinfall.
Whatever happened to Michael Tarver?
He's one of those guys that he had a good look. And it seemed like he had a good promo style, but he probably didn't have it in the ring. And he did more of that, like that boxing style. Okay. But no, he didn't. I'd peg potential for him, but it didn't pan out for Mr. Tarver. Darren Young, however, would stick around forever, and he'd get a renewed push. And maybe they kept him on the roster because he was one of the first out superstars. But it just never clicked for him in WWE, and he's kind of tearing it up in New Japan Pro Wrestling, so good for him.
Yes.
But Michael Tarver seems to have disappeared off the face of the planet.
It's crazy.
Skip Sheffield eliminates John Morrison. John Morrison, a guy with so much potential. Another guy Vince didn't see anything in. They brought him back in 2020, actually, and just had Brock whoop him out of the Royal Rumble. His big return.
I kind of agree, though. His promos just didn't hit for me for some reason. I mean, he can get in the ring and do everything, but it's hard to connect with someone like that. That his promos is kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. He just happy to be there.
You want to do something fun? Who is the most underutilized? Or I guess that'd be probably it. Who is the most underutilized between the three of these guys? John Morrison, Shelton Benjamin, and Carlito. Most underutilized?
Yes.
Which means the most potential, too.
Yes. He had the most potential out of all of them. Because he can talk, he can wrestle. I don't know if he just didn't care or about the style that the way WWE was carrying him. Shelton had a lot of potential, but unfortunately his promo skills, again, they didn't click. Even when he was with, what was that group? Jesus, I'm losing my mind.
Hurt Business?
Yeah, even with the Hurt Business. He had one or two good promos, but other than that, for me, it just didn't click. And I'm not saying he was a bad talent. I think he was a great talent. He was one of the guys that actually helped Brock get into the ring, too. So, you gotta get the promos, man. You gotta be the complete package to be the big guy. And for me, it was Carlito. I don't know what was going on backstage, but that guy had it all. And he's a second gen, so he knew what to do in the ring. I mean, you could see it when he'd get in the ring. He just kill it.
It's like, Pat, what do you think? Carlito, John Morrison, and Shelton Benjamin. Who do you think is the most underutilized between the three?
Because I don't remember a whole lot.
No initial instincts. I would say that John Morrison. I think John Morrison had the most potential. I mean, he had a promo style. It was kind of weird though. I mean, when he was the OG John Morrison, he talked stupid. He was an idiot.
Yeah.
But he didn't naturally talk like that. He's naturally very quick and sarcastic, and he's a normal guy, which is okay. So it's just a decision of his. so that he can control. But otherwise, he's phenomenal in the ring. Carlito, you know, that's his style. He's Carlito Caribbean cool. You know, he's just a naturally gifted athlete. He doesn't have to try hard to be good.
That's true.
And that's the problem.
That is true.
You know, so that's the problem with Carlito. But Carlito definitely has a lot of potential, and he's been really wasted in his year back in WWE. And wouldn't be surprised if he left soon. And after Shelton Benjamin, another guy, absolutely tremendous in the ring, but one of those guys where it's like he absolutely has zero promo ability, really. But he's so good otherwise.
Yeah.
Most of the time. But when he was younger, his first stint in WWE, he was excellent. His second stint, I think he just succumbed to age and, hey, I'm just here for a paycheck. And I don't see a problem with that based on the way they pushed him.
Absolutely.
But I would rank it that way. I would say John Morrison, Carlito, and then Shelton Benjamin. But,
do you think maybe John Morrison was a product of, like, when the camera's on you, your personality changes because you have the fear of not messing up? Because there's been so many guys that backstage, they say, oh, they can cut a rug, they're the best promo, but then you get them in front of a camera, they just shit the bed.
I mean, you know, they're all friends, like they're really close. Yeah. Zack Ryder, The Miz, Morrison, and Ziggler. And you can kind of see that they're all really similar in a way. They love pro wrestling. Yes. They love the business. Mm-hmm. But you can tell that The Miz, when he goes on, like he just literally cranks it. He's The Miz.
The other guys shut it off.
The other guys can't do that. John Morrison can't do that. Ziggler, for as good as he is, he can't do it either. I mean, he's close, but it doesn't sound authentic. It doesn't seem authentic or genuine when he turns himself up. You know?
What about the Broski though? Matt
Cardona.
He is.
Cardona had to leave to really blow up.
That's true.
So, hey, good for him. You know, I'm not a broski anymore. No. But
I'm with you on that. But you think if he would ever return, he should come back as Matt Cardona, not Zack Ryder.
In NXT.
Oh boy.
Take that, Sean Spears. I don't know. It's what it is.
It's tough.
But anyway.
He probably doesn't even need to go back. He's doing well.
He doesn't need to, no. As long as he doesn't get injured anymore. Back to the match. The future Ryback, Skip Sheffield, eliminates John Morrison and R-Truth via pinfall. They're trying, he got that role in the match that he was the heater, he's the big man doing all the action. But I kind of forgot what happened to him. I think he got injured and he just went away, sadly. But then he'd be back in WWE as Ryback. Another lost opportunity there for him. You were stuck in a rock and a hard place with Ryback and CM Punk. Again, because of The Rock. It's The Rock's fault. Because The Rock wanted to beat CM Punk, a long-term champion, year-and-a-half reign, wanted his title win to be important by beating someone important, not a game of hot potato with the world title. But Ryback was so hot. He had to win, but he didn't.
Yeah.
That's when we introduced the terrible person known as Brad Maddox, referee. But Skip Sheffield, he'd be
He was the referee of that match for the what the hell? Oh wow.
That's where he came into existence, Brad Maddox, before he messed up with Paige and Xavier Woods. So Skip Sheffield would have a future in WWE eventually, so he'll be all right. And then here comes the Calgary Hitman, Bret the Hitman Hart. He would come in and he would get disqualified.
Yeah, but he used it.
Hey, he didn't bring the chair in.
Nope.
All right, Jerry Lawler.
What do you mean? I didn't do it.
Like, come on, Brett.
Oh my God.
That's one way to protect him from taking a bump.
He's about to do the side Russian leg sweep, but then he thought better of it.
Yep.
And it was sad. It was just kind of sad at the time. I mean, his comeback match with Vince at WrestleMania was not well received. But he had a few spots here and there. And here he was main eventing SummerSlam, and it was cool. The Bret Hart return, Bret Hart rejoining the WWE family, a nice moment. But Bret, you're done, man. Stay out of the ring and take their crappy updated music with you. I didn't like it.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. Keep the original.
I understand. It's like, well, the other one's like hard hitting, and you're not that guy anymore. You need something softer. But God, I hate that updated version.
I know. I mean, well, Shawn was able to keep his song throughout his whole career, so he wasn't the boy toy the whole time he was getting older.
The heartbreak senior citizen. Ouch.
Jesus.
But yeah, that's how Bret Hart. How did Bret Hart get out of this match? Of course, he get disqualified. Edge quickly eliminates Skip Sheffield after that, and Edge making a hot tag, coming in there, ball of fire, and the next elimination was Chris Jericho eliminating David A-List Otunga via submission via the Walls of Jericho. I wanted to see more out of David Otunga. I always had this thing with David Otunga because he used to come out in his hoodie. It was a bedazzled hoodie, bedazzled Nexus. I remember telling Randy that, and Randy's, I'll get it for you. But they didn't sell that. It was custom. I thought I really liked that hoodie. But the A-List Otunga, he'd come in and he would do this cool spine buster type move. I think he botched it anyway. But he sucked in the ring, even though he'd become a tag team champion with John Cena eventually in a short storyline. Then he would just be one of those panelist commentators on the side for many years. But he wouldn't really wrestle much ever unless they needed him, for the greatest Royal Rumble or something.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's even in that.
It was so sporadic. He'd show up. It's like, you're still here? Like, you still work for the company?
That's right.
Come to find out he was one of the company lawyers. I was like, oh, shit.
Not anymore. He knows too much.
Yeah.
But then Heath Slater, the one-man rock band, comes out of nowhere, eliminates Chris Jericho and the Radar Superstar by pinfall. And then you're counting down the numbers. It's getting slimmer and slimmer on both sides. So eventually you have the American Dragon, Daniel Bryan, taking out Heath Slater via submission, of course. And it leaves just a very few amount of people on the team WWE. We leave Daniel Bryan, and would leave John Cena, and would leave you with a final 3 of Wade Barrett, Justin Gabriel, and maybe I'm counting wrong. Maybe just those 2. And Heath Slater himself, maybe. But yeah, Wade Barrett would eliminate Daniel Bryan via pinfall. John Cena would take out Justin Gabriel after missing a 450 splash, which I always thought, probably Vince was like, you got to sell the 450 splash. It's going to hurt your guts. So you just hold it like that. I'm selling it. But before we get to the final eliminations, Pat, you said you liked the match, as a whole.
There was a lot of moves.
Did you like the fast-paced nature, the elimination style?
Of course, the team
action?
WWE that John Cena formed cracks started forming way early on. Jericho wanted to call it his team, and people were dropping out, and then other people were coming on. It was just a constant feud, and Wade Barrett hit it on the head. They said, we as the Nexus, we're one. You guys are, get all your own egos and all your different ideas. Well, Edge got eliminated, and so did, I think of his name right now. Oh, Jericho. Well, they both turned on Cena immediately, and they're like, you're a stupid man, and everything. Well, Cena was just getting beaten down this whole match. And then when it was just Cena and Wade Barrett left, Barrett beat the shit out of him even more. And he still was able to come back and pin Wade Barrett. So it's completely unexpected.
Yep.
I honestly thought the Nexus was going to come in and just
that
beat
was the most
and it
significant
was gonna be
moment
done.
of the match. Is all right, it's
fair
over.
Match.
Wait.
The Nexus did not play fair up until that point.
Oh, we were hoping it would be that way. Yeah, Wade Barrett DDT'd Mr. John Cena I don't know how he found him. We couldn't see him. DDT'd him on the concrete floor, and that was supposed to be it, man.
Really?
That was supposed to be it. And John Cena would regret this years later, saying, "Yeah, I should have lost the match."
Yep.
Yeah. Because it did no benefit to the Nexus for John Cena winning. And it's like, here's your big heel faction. I beat him already. What's left to do? And they let it drag on for another 4 months.
Yeah, who knows if that was scripted?
Yeah, not in a great way either. The Nexus would just weaken and weaken.
When Barrett resigned, I think CM Punk took over the Nexus, but then it disbanded like almost immediately. The core.
Yep.
Yeah. I love the second Nexus with the core.
Yeah, the core, yeah.
Randy dropping his allegiance to the Nexus. I'm with the core. So good for you.
No, I never had that shirt.
Enjoy that T-shirt.
I was not buying the core.
And someone asked Wade Barrett, so why is the core spelled with 2 R's? And Wade Barrett said, well, we sent Heath Slater to the trademark office, and he doesn't know how to spell. So that's why the core has 2 R's.
Oh, my God.
And I think I just perfected my Wade Barrett impression. So there we go.
Not bad.
I'm afraid I've got some. Okay. It's also my Russell Crowe impression. But yeah, so after that DDT, wheels him back in. But Super Cena, he locks in the STF, the STFU. It used to be called. Showing a lot of light there, kid. Out. And Wade Barrett does tap out in Team WWE. That's right, I don't tap out.
You get up. Boom!
I mean, he did tap out there, and that would be it, So, but that was WWE SummerSlam. What was that?
Cena must pose.
Cena must pose. And Dom will not make this episode. I missed one.
And the streak
really?
is over.
Oh.
I will not let him in. Oh, wait. I was supposed to let him in a half hour ago? Shit.
Oh, well.
My girlfriend may or may not be watching. I don't know if she is or not.
Sorry, I'm new to the hosting the show here.
He would have texted us already.
Jenny, thanks for tuning in to the It Doesn't Matter podcast with our special guest, Pat Weddle, all the way from Kansas. But yeah, so that was the main event of SummerSlam 2010. So as a whole, what do we think about the show, Abel?
I think it was a fair pay-per-view. It wasn't one of the better SummerSlams. It was probably one of their down years for me, but it had some decent matches here and there to keep you vested, but me personally, I wouldn't rewatch this. It's maybe have 1 or 2 matches that you may want to watch again, but other than that, you're pretty much just saying, all right, I'm done.
I would say so.
So
it's
right.
6 out of 10 for me.
The main event was my
Pat,
favorite.
what do you think about your choice
Kane match
that I helped you choose? SummerSlam 2010.
That era, I didn't like the Nexus. I just didn't think they were fair. They were always coming along just beating people up, and they were getting involved in people's matches that they didn't need to be involved in and making people lose. I just hated it. And you learn years later it was all scripted. Like all along, I always thought Wade Barrett invented the Nexus, and he did. I think Randy sent me a link one time where he was talking about that in a documentary. He says, no, and I was on NXT. Vince called me and some people into his office and gave us these shirts that had the N letter on them, and they're like, what's this? And Vince says, I need you guys to go beat up John Cena. And that's where it started. So it was, it was Vince all along. It wasn't Wade Barrett leading along or anything. It was all scripted, which you figured that anyway, because any wrestling is scripted, really. But yeah, all those years I thought Wade Barrett was the ringleader. He was, but he was being told what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pro wrestling, baby. It blurs the lines of reality. We don't know what's real or what's not real. The only thing I can say is I'll borrow this line from a booker, who may have been booking me.
And
is that everything you see on TV
the Nexus back then, now that I know
It's all a work,
it was
brother.
Scripted and invented by Vince and not Wade Barrett and all that. Well, now that I think about it, it's like, yeah, it was just there to add to the entertainment. It was spice that they were adding to the show at that point in time. I mean, as much as I hated it, they were kind of cool in a way. So.
Yeah.
Well, they needed it. Yes.
I remember
cool
when John
you wore
Cena
their
joined
t-shirt.
them and he was going to destroy him.
Gang member, you?
Remember that? Yep. You are free or fired.
Oh, yeah, he was forced in, I remember. He had lost a match, and they said, if you lose, you join us. And everyone was shocked.
That was a good match. That one.
So many of those things. They had, I believe their last match was like John...
Yeah, I think
right about then the Nexus went out too because Punk took over right after then, and then they kind of faded out. That was a great way to end it. I thought that match was cool.
You can relive that moment anytime on Peacock under the WWE tab under their terrible search algorithm.
Yeah, I wish they'd go back to the network, but it's not gonna happen.
So I don't want to do these Raws and Nitros because I can't find them.
SummerSlam by going
1998 right next to 2004.
Of events and scrolling,
garbage.
And scrolling. And then once I found it, then it was organized real nice once you found it.
Yeah, Peacock gets no points from any wrestling fan because they are terribly it's just awful. It's just doesn't make any sense. But it's not a bash Peacock episode. But for my I was wearing me out too. But SummerSlam 2010. I don't think there's much redeeming on the show. The only redeeming thing is the main event. That's the only thing worth watching.
Yeah.
Well, I remember
for me,
we watched one pay-per-view.
That's the only thing I remember. And if we did watch this together,
Pat, I remember it because we went to the Big E.
No wonder I
didn't
remember anything.
Hurt. And shortly after that, we had gone over and you guys were all on the couch, and I was laying in pain in this beanbag chair.
Yeah.
And I think it was like a week later, and I just remember I couldn't hold the same position for 5 minutes. I was just bouncing. I remember that pay-per-view though, because I remember that pay-per-view because 4 different titles changed hands that night, and that was a good pay-per-view. And I don't remember what pay-per-view that was or anything, but I think I remember it so much because that's when I had gotten hurt.
It was the Fatal 4-Way show.
When I hurt my tailbone like that bothered me for 2.5 years. Yeah, I remember that. I think you posted the video on my Facebook somewhere. Right?
I have it on tape.
Oh, boy.
Happy birthday, Pat.
Oh, man.
Here's where you fucked your tailbone up. It's one of those videos. It's on my cell phone. One from
I got
15
rid of all
years
those
ago.
I took
It's still on there. Whether that phone turns on ever again or not, I couldn't tell you.
Some of them
but it's on there.
Some of them did.
I keep them all. I kept. I made a deal with my mom. I was like, if you take this phone back to Vietnam to give to somebody, then you got to buy me a new one. She's like, deal. It was a bad deal though.
I don't know that I really miss any of my old phones. I think part of that was
technology.
Because, I got rid of them along the way because they had problems with them. Some of them were charged and others were glitchy. And I liked them when I had them, but then towards the end they just started acting up, and that's why I had to get rid of them. So it's like, nope, see ya. Be careless now.
Well, I mean that is true. If they're broken straight up, then they're broken straight up. What are you gonna do?
That's true.
I'll tell you what's not broken. I'll tell you what is broken. The streak of Don Williams on being on every single It Doesn't Matter podcast, because he did not make it in the hour and 10 minutes of this show, and that's okay. We don't need him. But that wraps up the month of August for the It Doesn't Matter podcast. We'll show you the lineup if you check out our Facebook page, the It Doesn't Matter podcast. Check out our YouTube Also, the It Doesn't Matter podcast. We have endless hours of things for you to listen to. We have this show, the It Doesn't Matter podcast. We have Wrestling That Made Us. We have rundowns from olden times because we haven't done one in forever. We have so much content for you to watch and listen to. Please make comments on our page. Don't DM them to us because then no one sees them. Just say something out loud. We will respond to you. We appreciate you all. We are 9 subscribers away from some big number out there that Dom's going to celebrate with a cake or something. He doesn't have a sweet tooth. But, hey, I'm wrapping up the show today, Platino. So, again, thanks for everyone for listening and watching. Thanks to Abel for joining the show. Thanks for Pat for joining the show for the first time ever this week. Maybe we'll see you.
Go back in time and watch some more.
Thank you very much, and maybe we'll have you on a future edition, huh?
Yes.
Something from 2010, 2011, or 2012. Yes. All right. So that's it from the It Doesn't Matter podcast. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Oh.
All right.